Hello, hello. This is the Don't Stifle Me podcast. Welcome. My name is Jacob Stiefel, and I am recording this on Wednesday, August the 9th of 2017. A day later than usual, but I'm glad we're here. Glad you stopped by. Today's episode will be short and sweet. There won't be too much to it. It's kind of a look back at episodes 1 through 22, kind of talk about where we've been, people I've talked to, and just kind of let you know about what each episode was, so maybe you want to go back and check them out. And then we'll move on from there. So I'm not going to talk too long here at the beginning. I'm glad you're here. Here we go. Let's get started.
Pick it up the piano.
It ain't dying I'm talking about. It's living.
All right, like I said, today I just want to kind of touch on the first 22 episodes for those of you who are just joining us or have just joined recently. I'm not going to go into too much depth. I'm just going to kind of talk about each guest, a little bit of what we talked about, and then you can go on and go back and download whichever ones sound appealing to you. Maybe you want to listen to them all, and that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. That is okay. But in case you haven't gone through and looked, let's just run through 1 through 22, and then I'll sing you a song afterwards. How about that? All right, starting at the beginning, episode number 1 was my man, Mr. Chance Gray. Now, I knew when I decided to start this whole thing, I knew that I wanted the first episode to be with my best friend, my cousin, Chance Gray. Now, not only because he is my best friend and my cousin, but because he's got such an inspirational story. I mean, he started, when he moved here to Nashville, when he came from Alabama, he had a great job, college degree, all that, but he moved up here and had to start plunging toilets and taking out trash in a bar downtown. And so going from that, working his way up to then he was on the Taylor Swift 1989 tour, and now he's a merchandise manager for Grammy award-winning artist Jason Isbell. Hearing that whole story, it was really cool how it came about. So go check that out if you're interested. Episode number 2 was my brother from another mother. I knew, Paul Jackson from Blackberry Smoke. I knew I wanted him to be next after Chance. I've known Paul for, over 10 years now. His mom and my mom worked together at a newspaper in Fort Payne, Alabama. And Blackberry Smoke at that time was just, they were barely getting by, playing smoky bars and juke joints across the country. And now they're selling out theaters and venues across the country. So, and Paul is still the same great, awesome guy as he was back then, 10 years ago. And so check that conversation out. It was awesome as well, as you'll hear my opinion is for most of these conversations. Episode number 3 is, you're probably going to hear it. By the way, you're probably going to hear my chair squeaking. I'm going to try not to move around too much, but, it happens. Episode number 3, Adam Hood. Now, I've listened to Adam Hood. I've listened to his music for years, probably since college. I'd say I graduated from the University of Alabama in 2009. Roll Tide. Sorry, had to slip that in. But, so yeah, I've loved Adam's music for years, and now I'm extremely lucky enough to call Adam a friend. He's a funny guy, great songwriter, great singer, guitar player, and we had an awesome talk, so go check that one out if you're interested. All right, let me get a little coffee here and we'll move on. All right, where are we? All right, yeah, episode number 4, Pretty Boy Bandis. I'm sorry, no, let's not call him that. Brian Bandis. I love Brian. Brian is a great dude. I didn't even realize when I met him that he was in a group called Love and Theft that was pretty big back in the day. They were a trio in mainstream country, if you've heard of them. But so I didn't realize that when I met him and hired him to come play guitar for me on the road. This was after his Love and Theft days. And we go into all that. We talk about decisions that he had to make from one thing to another. Great musician, great songwriter, even better family man, and now in the real estate business. We talk about all that. Check it out, episode number 4. Number 5, man, this was a fun one. Stuart and Garrett Mann of the Statesboro Review out of Texas was two goofy bastards. They came by a hotel room that I had in New Braunfels, Texas, and we sat and talked for a little bit. It was a short visit. Actually, now that I think about it, I should get them back on so we could talk some more. That was a quick talk, but it was fun. We jammed a little bit at the end, and you should go check it out if you're interested. Number 6. Moving on. Drew Smith. The wordsmith, Drew Smith. Now, Drew, he's one of my oldest buddies here in Nashville. I met him back in 2009, I believe, not long after I moved to town. He produced my first 2 CDs. We've written together, hung out, played gigs together for years, off and on. And this is all not to mention that a song he wrote has been recorded by both Randy Houser and Merle Haggard, and the other countless awesome songs that he's written. So check it out, Drew Smith, episode number 6. Number 7, 007, as he referred to it. He pointed out that he was CJ Solar, the bearded raging Cajun himself. CJ is a great singer-songwriter. As a songwriter, he's had cut by Jared Neiman, country artist. He recorded a song of his called Blue Bandana not long ago. But CJ, he's a touring artist, banging it out on the road. And if anybody knows how much goes into that, it's me. And beyond all that, he's a great guy. It was another great talk. All right, I figured I'd break up the monotony of me talking the whole time with a little guitar, so I'll throw in a little bit here and there. And so on to episode number 8, Lewis Bryce. And I saw Lewis play a show not long ago, I think last week here in Nashville, and it was great. He's awesome. I've known Lewis for like 5 years now, and he keeps getting better and better every time I see him. Better, entertaining-wise, singing-wise, the songs are great. So check him out when you get a chance. Anyway, yeah, so we played a friend's birthday party like 5 years ago, I think, up in Wisconsin. I don't remember much about that night, but it was a lot of fun, I think. And I think there's some video of it somewhere, but I hope that stays locked in a vault. Lewis and I sat down and we talked about all kinds of stuff. Talked about him, being Lewis Bryce and not Lee Bryce's little brother, and a whole gang of topics. So go check that out. Episode number 9, the next one, was Don Gallardo. Now, you want to talk about a solid, genuine, nice guy and great artist, besides that. We can talk about Don Gallardo. Now, I'm not going to talk into much depth. If you feel compelled, you can go listen to the episode. But aside from being a great guy, he's been Americana since before anyone knew hardly what Americana was. Before it was cool. He was the OG Americana. So go check it out with that my talk with that bearded California hippie. All right. What's next? Number 10? Oh, we got number 10 here. Yeah, I'm looking at a screen, people. I got a cheat sheet. Episode number 10, Hallie and Jerry Phillips. Man, 2 of my favorite people. Just absolute favorite people in the world. Maybe, just under my immediate family. And I basically consider them that anyway. So, but besides all that, they're rock and roll royalty. Jerry is Hallie's father, and Jerry's father was Sam Phillips. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell to you, first of all, you should read up on your rock and roll history. But, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and many, many more all got their start with Sam Phillips at Sun Studio in Memphis, Tennessee. So, just getting to talk to them, just getting to know them over the last few years has been awesome because of that initially. But, aside from that, they are great, fantastic people. And Jerry's a hoot to listen to, hear his stories. So go check that one out. And while I was down there in the greater Muscle Shoals area, I also got to sit down with the one and only Will McFarlane for episode number 11. Tasty guitar licks for days, people. I'm talking for days. If you are a guitar player or a musician, or you appreciate the musician side of things, this is a must listen for sure. Will, he played guitar for Bonnie Raitt for, the late 70s, I believe, mostly, 5-6 years there. And then he went on to Muscle Shoals and became one of the best studio guitar players around. And he still is down there hammering it out on a regular occasion. Incredible insight into the musician's mind and his path and everything, and great advice. So definitely go check it out. Episode number 12 here on the Don't Stifle Me podcast was Nicole Lake from the organization Musicians on Call. Now, if you haven't heard of Musicians on Call, it's a great conversation. We discuss the organization, what they do. I actually volunteer with them here in Nashville, and it's where singers and musicians volunteer and go into hospitals and go from room to room and sing a song to, go into a room, sing a song to the patient there in the room, and then move on to the next room. And it's been one of the best things that I've been able to do my whole life. So check that out and listen for more details in that episode. Y'all still with me out there? Okay. I'll give you a little break there, a little picking. On to episode number 13 was Too Tall Travis Bettis, as he is referred to in some circles. Travis plays guitar for Lee Brice. He has for years. He's a Texas guy in every sense of the word, from the blues guitar slinging to hunting and fishing to being just a dependable stand-up human being. We had a great talk, a good long talk, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So there it was, number 13. On to number 14, episode 014, was Mr. Ben Ratliff. Now, he's not an artist, musician, or songwriter currently, though he was in the past. Ben has moved on to behind the curtain to position of tour manager and artist manager. He currently tour manages stand-up comic Ralphie May and artist manages country artist Dave Kennedy. And he's always got his hand in something else along the way. You never know with Ben. But we talked about the parallels and the differences between, music business versus the comedy world, and a whole lot more in that episode. And then, number 15. Episode 15 was Waylon Payne. Now this one was great. I know I've said that. About most of these. Maybe I'm a little biased, people. But can you blame me? Come on now. But to get to sit down and visit with Waylon Payne about his path and about his parents. His mom was country superstar Connie Smith, and his dad was Jody Payne, who was, he played guitar for Willie Nelson for 25 or 30 years or something like that. He was Willie's longtime guitar player, harmony singer. Every video you've probably seen from back in the day of Willie, Jody Payne was next to him playing guitar and singing. So that was a true pleasure. But besides who his parents were, Waylon is an awesome guy. I was happy. I would have been happy to sit down and talk with him if he was just some random guy off the street. So this talk shows all of that. And he even played some guitar and sang you a song, because he is in himself, he's a badass singer and songwriter. Like I said, even if he was a guy off the street, I would be impressed just as much. So that's that. All right. Number 16. You still with me? All right. Just making sure, because this is a lot of talking for me with no one in the room. So episode number 16 is Town, the duo Town, John Decius and Stevie Steves. Sorry, I have to say that when I say her name, Stevie Steves. And I talk about an entertaining conversation. Hold on a second. Let me get some coffee here. Boy, that cup's almost empty. I'm going to have to go back to the kitchen and get some more. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Entertaining conversation, like from the word go on this one. It was, these two, they're an earful in the best possible way. They each tell their story of how life led them to where they are, but also including meeting each other. And anyway, they sing you a song at the end with their sweet bird-like harmonies. And it was a good talk. Yet another one. Episode number 17 was my man, Mr. Johnny Hayes. Johnny is a fellow Alabama boy, and you might know him from The Voice. I can't remember which season it was, but I don't watch The Voice. Sorry, Johnny, but it was, very recent season he was on. And regardless of that, I love Johnny. Johnny's great. We've played shows together here in Nashville. We've hung out, and there's not much else to say about him. He's a great guy, great singer. I saw him and the boys, Johnny Hayes and Love Seats is the name of the band. And they've got a single out right now called Slow Dance. But I saw them play last week here in Nashville, and it was awesome. Great band. They got a horn, they got a saxophone player, and Matt Mackey on harmonica, and just, it was good stuff. Go see him. Johnny Hayes and the Love Seats. Anyway, it's 100% rock and soul, I believe is what he calls it, and that's the best definition for it. And he sings a little song at the end of this episode too. So there it is. And I'm going to play a little guitar here. Let's see what to play. I don't know. And with that, we'll take you out to Texas. How about that? Episode number 18 was with a feller named Matt Begley. He's the guy with the tall hat, as a lot of people know him as. I met Matt a few years back while I was touring through Texas. We've got some mutual friends, and he's become one of my best friends that I have out there in the Lone Star State. We've played shows together. We've drank some whiskey together. We've sat around and told stories, and we'll probably do all of those things again the next time I'm out there. But Matt's toured for a while as Matt Begley and Bitter Whiskey, and then he changed. And when we had this talk, he was with a group called Steel Penny. That has since changed. I don't know the details of it, but he's still out there killing it on the road, and he's just as Matt Begley right now. But anyway, he's a solid guy, great voice, cool songs, good sound. It's a great talk. I mean, he sings you a little song at the end. So that was episode 18. Episode 19, I recorded at my grandma's house in San Antonio, Texas, and the guest was Eric Bryce. Now, a little different than the usual guests, Eric is a visual artist, and we discussed the details of it all, but he works with aluminum panels, and he engraves in them in a certain way, so when light reflects, it does really cool shit. That's my best description in shorthand. But he paints at times, too, on canvas, and I met him. Anyways, we had an awesome talk. I met him earlier this year at an exhibit in San Antonio of his, and I knew I wanted to get him as a guest as soon as I met him. And he may not be a songwriter or a musician, but he exemplifies the word artist. I mean, it applies to no one any more than it does to Eric. And hearing the ins and outs of how the visual art world compares to the music world, it's hand in hand. So listen and hear it for yourself. All right, episode number 20. Well, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. We just got a few more. Hang on with me, folks. Hang on with me. We're almost there. Episode number 20. Oh man. Speaking of hanging on, this was with my good friends Copper Chief, a band out of South Austin, Texas. And this conversation, it was like a fun, humorous train wreck in the best possible way, I think. But it was me and these four guys sitting around a table drinking beer and eating chips and salsa and talking over each other. But I think we did a pretty good job. I had to edit that one up more than usual, but it was still a fun talk, and I still think it's fun to listen to. But yeah, they came over to Grandma's house in San Antonio and hung out one afternoon while I was touring through Texas, and they were playing close to there that night. And we had so much fun, they decided to come back after the show, and we had a late night jam, which I had to edit a little bit as well. But there was some good in there, and I added that at the end of the episode, so you can go check that out. On to episode number 21. If you haven't heard of Chad Prather or seen any of his videos online, go check a couple of those out for sure. He's the goofy guy in the cowboy hat who sits in his pickup truck and videos himself talking really fast about random things and his opinions and politics and anything and everything. And whether or not you agree with him, he makes well-articulated points and is very funny when he does it. So all that aside, I met him a couple of years ago. I was opening up for Adam Hood out in Fort Worth, and I met him that night. I didn't know who he was, but we stood and talked in the back of the bar for several hours and been friends ever since. And I was really looking forward to this talk for a long time, and it did not disappoint. We sat and drank some scotch and talked as men do from time to time. Check that one out there. Episode 22, the most recent and, by the way, the most downloaded episode to date. That's saying something, folks. It's within a day, it had got more downloads than any other episode. So check that one out for sure. You might be here because of that one, which is okay. Welcome. I got to sit in a hotel room with the one and only Jimbo Hart, bass player of Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, and my cousin and best friend Chance, who was from episode number 1 back at the beginning. And the three of us sat in a hotel in Austin, Texas, and shot the shit for a little while. We talked about Jimbo's life and music and how he met Jason Isbell, who he's been playing with for years and years. And we talked about, life as a struggling musician on the road and so many more things that you'll just have to go listen and see and hear for yourself, which gets us up to date. That was last week, and this is episode number 23. So there you go. That was not bad. That was less than 20 minutes. It took me to go through all that. If you're still here, bless your little pea picking heart. I'm gonna play you a song here in a minute, but I just want to let you know we'll have a new guest next week, and I've got several more great talks lined up, and I'm all the time talking with, sending out emails and text messages and stuff, lining up new interviews. So you got some good stuff coming your way. If you keep listening, I'll keep cranking them out, and just please click subscribe and share with your friends and pass on the good word, and we'll keep on trucking. And I will leave you with this, ladies and gentlemen. As I near the end of my 20s, I turned 30 this coming Monday, the 14th, and I couldn't be more happy with where I am right now. I'm not making a lot of money at all, but I wake up every morning excited to get out of bed, drink some coffee, and go further in this crazy life and world and business that we all live in. Anyway, that being said, I wrote this song a couple of years ago on my 28th birthday, and if it's not my favorite song I've ever written, it's pretty damn close to it. It's called Blind Trust, and I'm going to play it for you. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Being brave and being stubborn, one looks a lot like the other. Sometimes I wonder which I am. My daddy said, hold your head up high. If you're gonna do it, son, do it right. So I've been burning my light at both ends. In this life of a gypsy that wants a home, it's like a family man who always wants to be gone. Now in the dark of the night, nobody wants to turn wrong. So I'm blind trusting this road I'm on. The others found their place. Yeah, they're numbered parking space. But I'm weeks and days away from them. Now I love what I do. No, I wouldn't lie to you. But sometimes I do give in to this life of a gypsy who wants a home. It's like a family man who always wants to be gone. Now in the dark of the night, nobody wants to turn wrong. So I'm blind trusting this road I'm on. Yeah, this life of a gypsy who wants a home, I tell you it's like a family man who always wants to be gone. And in the dark of the night, nobody wants to turn wrong. So I'm blind trusting, blind trusting, and I'll keep on blind trusting this road I'm on. Lord, I'm just blind trusting this road